I think it's really attractive when a man takes the lead. I think it's really attractive when he says, let's go do this. So when my husband says, let's go do this, I'm on board. I support what he likes to do sometimes. I know sometimes we might be like, babe, can you go with me to like shop or do something we like to do? And we kind of shun them away when they want to do stuff they like to do. I really make it a point to empower his masculinity by saying, okay, some days I just give in to, okay, you want to do something, you're coming to me, your wife, asking me, can you do this with me? Sure. Okay, I would love to. I would love to spend time with you. Whatever you want to do, let's do it. Let's do it together. Does that mean that we always only do what he wants to do? Of course not. But if your husband or boyfriend is asking you to do something that he likes to do with him, that's a good sign. And the way to empower him is to be on board, to make it exciting, to look good while doing it. Okay? The next time he asks you to do something with him that you might not want to do, just do it. Tip number 2. Gentle communication. Sometimes when we express things to our husband or our boyfriend, we can get a little emotional. We can add in a little bit of cuss words, or maybe our tone gets a little high, but we're not yelling. We're just passionate. We want to make sure when we're communicating something, especially something that's important, that we want them to listen to, that we're doing it when we have the emotional capacity to do that. We can practice emotional intelligence. This is really important. Factually, they stop listening to us when we start yelling and nagging. So we're kind of wasting our time. This is simple. This is take the emotions out of it. Be clear when you speak. Men cannot read our minds. Our tone doesn't have to go from low to high. We can just talk, just like this. It will mean just as much, I promise. I used to be someone who felt like if my tone wasn't elevated and using cuss words, then they just wouldn't get it. But they do. They'll get it much quicker and much more clear if we can communicate with clarity and without all of the extras. The next tip that I have for you that my husband loves is being his peace. And I know for some people, if you're not in a good state with your boyfriend or husband right now, this is the last thing that you want to do. You're not trying to be his peace. He needs to be your peace, right? I get it. Sometimes that's how we start to think. But I personally like to hold myself accountable. I like to be the one who takes the lead because now I know I did my part. So anytime I think of having a conversation with my husband or going out with my husband or just being in his presence, I remind myself that I want to be his peace. I want to be his calm. It's so attractive to be around a woman who wants to be your peace. Be open to just saying, you know what, I want peace and I want to be his peace. It's okay to take the first step. It's okay to open your arms and reach for the hug first, or to see him and greet him and smile and wait for that reciprocity. It's okay if in the beginning it's not reciprocated. It's going to take time. It took time to get where you are now, and it's going to take time to get where you're trying to go. But if you don't start the process, you're getting further behind. My next tip is not to critique the way he expresses himself. Men are different in the way that they express themselves, much different from women. And one thing I had to learn was that men are just different in that way. Sometimes I felt like the way my husband would speak to me was like, oh, that's all you're going to say? That's all you have to say? But it really was. Men use a lot less emotional language than women do. And so that empowers their masculinity when you just respect that that is who they are. Now that's different than if they're putting on a facade, or maybe they give other people more and they give you less. We're not changing a bad man into a good man. We are empowering a good man to step into his masculinity. My next tip is probably one of the biggest tips, especially if you got a man that's out there working every single day. When he gets home, you need to look good and you need to greet him with open arms. Be excited to see him. Oh my God, my babe's home. You made it. Like, know that he knows that I appreciate everything you do. You are my king. I want to honor you. I want you to feel that we need you here, that we love you here, praise you in a sense. He's a good man, so I don't have any issue with doing that and being submissive to him. That's my style in a relationship. It doesn't have to be your style. You don't have to think the way that I think, but just simply showing your husband or your boyfriend that you love them, you appreciate them, will go a long way. One of the things that has shifted my husband into his masculine so much is the ability for me to focus on the truth instead of trying to be right all the time. And that's all ego. Like, I really had to check myself, because a lot of the arguments that he and I would have would just be about me needing to be right or me needing to be heard. And sometimes I wasn't right. And I just needed to step out of my ego and say, you know what? Let me focus on the truth instead of me being right. So sometimes there were ways that I could have responded better instead of me focusing on the fact that, no, I'm right and you're wrong, and you need to admit that you're wrong. I had to let all of that go, all of that friction, all of the yelling, all of the needing to be right. That was a big problem. And since we've overcome that hurdle, he has so much more respect when we communicate, because he sees me focusing on the truth. And so there's times when I'm right and he's wrong, and he's okay saying, oh yeah, that's right. It's an energy that becomes safe for him to say, oh, maybe I'm not seeing it the way you're seeing it. Or for me to say that, oh, you know what? I didn't think about it like that. Actually, you're right. It creates that safe space for us to be able to do that. And that's a really beautiful feeling. I hope these tips were helpful. If you're new here, don't forget to go and follow my TikTok and my Instagram. My name is Jasmine. Thanks so much for watching, y'all. If you liked this video, it would mean a lot to me if you left me a comment and gave me a like so that I know to keep making videos. If you have any specific topics you want me to cover, I do have a link that you can click and submit a topic. Until next time, bye guys.